Hello everyone, welcome to the AI Revolution project. My name is Petre and let's start iteration 8. Before we jump in, some general thoughts. I think that eventually I will build a community around this project if I keep doing it and increasing the quality of the videos and the project becoming more interesting. And last week I have found a really cool way of describing how the members of the community would be called. From now on, we are in the community of science heretics because we try to change the field with new ideas. So, hello again, fellow science heretics. I am a bit sorry for not posting more iterations and that my speed of production is slow at the moment, and I hope that I will speed up the process of making those videos. I have noticed a pattern in the videos we have done lately. So I wrote it down here at the end. An iteration structure is first we have some general thoughts which I'm doing right now. Then we will integrate the previous iteration by reviewing it and adding it to the notes we have so far to organize and structure. And then while we do integrate, if we eventually reach, maybe I hope, maybe if we reach the point of integrating everything, we will start coming up with new ideas, and eventually, I'm not sure how, but we will also start. I have in mind the point where we start the actual practical project implementation and the source code, but I don't want to rush into it. I want to organically arrive there and let the development flow naturally from the point where we are to that point. So I will add here to the iteration structure, start some. Sorry, I got interrupted and I lost my idea. So eventually, a fourth point, start some practical software development. I'm also using a new microphone today. I will check later because I'm not testing anything except making the video, so you are the first test of anything I test. So let's see. Let's start with integrating I see here we have to integrate day 4, then we will integrate day 5, and what we have so far starts to get some structure. Eventually I will want to split those into separate documents because, okay, this is an idea. I think this is an idea worth adding in the iteration 8, that humans prefer to see a small part of the project and prefer to see that part at the same level of abstraction. If I keep adding here things under each of those categories, they will be like lower levels of abstractions in my thinking. Like I think it's like in software development. So we will split those into separate files and we will connect them if necessary. Until then, we will keep adding here the ideas, but I think this is a nice, interesting thing that humans prefer to see a small part of the project, or mm, actually any text materials, and prefer to see that part at the same level of abstraction. This preference is, of course, uh, very related to previous ideas from previous iterations, that because we have a very limited working memory, and because of that very limited working memory, we have developed some tools, some methods, some skills to build things in our small working memory. And maybe this is what makes us superior still to the LLMs. Maybe this skill and other skills that humans use to handle only to handle like a large text are not only useful for humans to work with complex knowledge, but they also be absolutely necessary for LLMs to further increase their performance. Oops. Okay. That's a theory, and I think we have touched upon it a little bit, but we will turn back to this next time. I'm not going to see how to integrate it into everything else. We are going to go back to day 4. And let's recap and see. LLMs, knowing versus solving. LLMs don't know what they don't know. Again, that's a limitation, and that's the hallucinations. We already have this. Here I want to make it clear that the best existing systems are LLMs and variations of LLMs, because I don't see anywhere else LLMs here. Next, asking a human, do you know X? A human could answer, I don't know, or I don't know X now, but I know a place where I can find it, or I know X recalling it from memory, or I know that I knew X and I forgot it. Again, I can find it out. When I find, I would have a high confidence in its truth. And I can try to find what X is. I can try to build X. Here in this text, I see another idea. One is confidence, that something is true or not. LLMs are kind of always confident because they hallucinate, and they try to I think they try to pretend that they are not confident by making the answers in a style where they give nuance to their answer, but that's not because they don't have the confidence, that because they were asked to give the answer in a way as if they don't have confidence in that answer. And when they are, that's actually bad, because they also have noticed that if you do this to force LLMs to have a low confidence, they become lazy. That's like a failed solution to hallucinations. And I want to include it here, is that the style of the answer is forcefully nuanced. And because of that, it the, the consequence is that you can't have the good parts without the bad parts. Like it's going to extreme. If you go to extreme to always give nuanced answers, sometimes you fail to answer the question because you just give all the possible answers, and if you tell the user, I don't know which one of these is, but maybe it's your job to choose one, and the LLM is not choosing it because he has to stay as impartial and unbiased. The consequence here is that LLMs become lazy, and they just give all the answers without all the possible answers, good or bad, good and bad, and let the user decide for himself. And that's good in some questions where you have to be unbiased to avoid being biased. But if you are asked a question of, I don't know, something technical like writing a function, there is no bias that can affect you in that situation, and the LLMs that are forced to give nuanced answer can fail to answer those obvious questions. That's failing to answer obvious questions because of trying to remain unbiased. You see, if you are always unbiased, you can become lazy in answering the obvious questions. Taking things to extreme, that's something that occurs. I see a pattern here. Occurred something like this occurred also in previous iterations. LLMs take things to extreme, and it's one idea is, for example, staying unbiased to extreme, taken to extreme, makes you lazy, or not being able to get bored, as I said previously, which is like a metacognitive skill that humans have to get bored. Um, doesn't exist in LLM, so they can get stuck in doing the same thing again and again and again. That's like they have unlimited energy. Taken to extreme, mm, makes you stay stuck in doing the same thing which is failing, or taking too much time to do something instead of trying a completely new approach which helps you solve the problems. This um, people try to construct like a prompt to give to the system to influence the answers in the LLMs, and they actually tell them, you go and be a useful assistant, a helpful assistant. Don't give something that can hurt or don't cause damage. Crafting this by hand manually, it appears to be very difficult because we are failing to do them. And we arrive to these awkward situations where you become either lazy, either failing to because you have too much energy, or do the same thing again and again. Maybe we can let go of these extremities in the system we will develop, of making of not making taking things to extreme by the system, instead of manually. How we would do this is, instead of manually uh, explaining the behavior of how should the system act, there should be like how I see in humans is that there is a homeostasis where in our thinking we try to stay kind of in a default position, and when things get out of control, we some systems starts to trigger in us, which bring us forcefully back to a homeostasis level. So doing this manually is like choosing the thermostat temperature to always be, I don't know, 20 degrees, but maybe you don't want it always to be 20 degrees. Maybe you want something something that is more taking in more informations about how is the weather outside, maybe how many humans are in the house, because there maybe in the house there are so many humans that they produce a lot of heat, because our bodies produce heat and you need a lower temperature. Maybe the window is open in the house and you are putting in cold air, and also warm air comes in, and maybe you shouldn't turn the AC before. Uh, you should first close all the windows, and then after to turn the AC on. So you see, there are a lot of situations where just manually putting in a set behavior is bad. Instead of manually explaining the behavior of the system, there should be an internal regulating system like homeostasis based on many external like senses and external perceptions, or that's something that could be really useful. uh, I think this video is getting too long and we didn't cover this part of iteration 4, but we will do it in the iteration 9. Also, I didn't give titles to those iterations. I will see here. Those are obviously metacognitive skills again. I think we have talked about such things in the iteration 6-7. I think I gave them titles on the YouTube video, and I will put those here as well. So until next time, have a nice day, and coming back with the continuation of our project. Bye bye.